This is DRF Race of the Day. Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with the DRF Race of the Day for Wednesday, December the 29th. It's race number 9 at Parx. We'll throw up the field for the Parx Juvenile, one of two $100,000 stakes races for 2-year-olds at 7 furlongs. The Juvenile, the Colt division. You can download free Formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with me, and if you'd like to play the races, you can do so with your DRF Bets account. I want to alert everybody to several likely scratches in this race. The one Last Romance ran second in the Heft Stakes at Laurel on Sunday. He is not expected to run. The number 9, Uncle Buddy, ran 5th in the Heft. He's very unlikely to come back on such short notice. The number 11, Mr Mox. I talked to Jamie Ness on Monday morning. He said this race is coming back just a little bit too quick, 11 days after he ran in the Maryland Juvenile Championship. Mr Mox is expected to scratch, and I talked to trainer McLean Hendricks. The 12, Witty, popped a foot abscess, and they're going to be very patient with him. He's an unlikely starter as well. So as we head on to the Timeform US Pace Projector for this race, I'd like to urge everybody, check out the Pace Projector once scratches are made official at timeformus.com. This Pace Projector will automatically update. The 6 is going to show speed. That's speaking. The 7, Practical Coach, is going to show speed. And it's going to be an interesting dynamic who sits behind these horses. The 8, Script, the 13, Smarten Up, the 2, Dance Code. To me, they seem most likely to take up a tracking position going this 7 furlong distance. Also, there's a 40% chance of rain in the Parx area on Wednesday. Click the sire and dam's name in your Formulator past performances. You'll get all sorts of wet track statistics that can help you out with your handicapping. With Last Romance expected to scratch, we'll move to the 2, Dance Code, who was 3rd in the Grade 3 Sanford in his second lifetime start despite stumbling at the start. Now he was well beaten that day. These connections, they were very aggressive with this horse. They ran him right back in the Saratoga Special. He was overmatched in that race. A winner 2 starts back when close to the pace. He was just out-sprinted behind an electric pace in the Pennsylvania Nursery last time out. He came wide into the stretch. He passed a few horses. This will be his 3rd start of the form cycle. I think the pace will be solid, but not as fast as last time, and I think he can get a little bit closer to the pace. He is an interesting contender to be sure, and he might go off a playable price, despite the fact that he has valuable experience against very good horses. The 3 is EGOT, a Poker Face. We're going to watch EGOT, a Poker Face's most recent start. First start off of about a 2-month layoff, and EGOT, a Poker Face, was not bluffing. This 2-turn mile, he went right to the front, and he set some legitimate fractions in this state-bred maiden, and you see him drawing off to win at 10-to-1 odds. He certainly didn't look like a 10-to-1 shot in that race. Now his buyer came back a 51. He's going to have to improve, but these horses do tend to improve by leaps and bounds, 2-year-olds at this time of year. I don't mind horses cutting back to 7 furlongs, but EGOT, a Poker Face, has already finished behind Vine Jet several times, and he's going to be facing Vine Jet once again. And speaking of Vine Jet, he's next. He was 3rd in the Pennsylvania Nursery behind Witty and Uncle Buddy, 2 horses expected to scratch, and he got the right pace set up, as did Dance Code. He fell behind early. He came with a wide kick. The pace fell apart late. He was a non-threatening 3rd. A winner of 3 starts back at this 7 furlong distance. Vine Jet's going to be hoping for a fast and contested pace up front. The 5 is Raging Tempest, and this horse is a deserving long shot. He is still a maiden after 2 lifetime starts. He finished 6th in a maiden claimer last time out, a race where the runner-up would come back to win a state-bred maiden at Parx with a 58 buyer. This horse has to improve by leaps and bounds if he's going to contend against this field. Speaking is the number 6. Speaking, I expect to be the main pace setter. Speaking should appreciate cutting back to 7 furlongs and dropping in class. He was a winner 2 starts back in the Smoke Glacken Stakes at Monmouth, going 6 furlongs. He basically shook loose, and I don't believe he changed leads in the stretch that day. They tested him, in the Grade 3 Nashua last time out. He faced a Bob Baffert shipper in Rockefeller. He chased that horse in the early portion, and he came up empty when it counted. The 5th place finisher would come back to run 3rd in a stake at Oaklawn with a 78 buyer. Speaking's going to appreciate cutting back in distance, certainly getting the class relief, and he could be in front when the field turns into the stretch. Interesting contender to be sure. Practical Coach is the number 7, going out for Butch Reed, and a lot was expected from this son of Practical Joke, sold for $270,000 earlier this year, and a debut winner at Parx. And while he hasn't finished off the board in his subsequent 3 starts, he's lost at odds of 5-2 or less in all of those races, including one at 2-5, and last time out at 7-5. Last time out was a race in which he chased outside, he dropped in on the turn, he had every chance, and he just wasn't as good as Dance Code on the day. Practical Coach is getting blinkers for the first time. When I talked to Butch Reed on Monday, he's hoping that it helps this horse focus. He has the speed, he trains well in the morning, just as when it seems in the afternoon when he has to put horses away, he hasn't been able to do it just yet. Frankie Pennington takes them out. I think this horse works out a good trip chasing the speed. Script is the number 8, and Script made his debut for Graham Motion at Laurel over a wet track going 6 furlongs, and this is a very big, strong 2-year-old. Laurel weighs their horses. He weighed in at 1,183 pounds, and you'd think 6 furlongs would be a little bit short for him, and not surprisingly, he dropped far back early, but he was flying at the end of that race, just missed by a half length, galloped out a country mile ahead of the field, and Motion was heartened by that performance to send him to Aqueduct for his second lifetime start, where he got a little bit nutty in the pre-race preliminaries. He dumped Jose Ortiz in the post-parade, got loose briefly, they reloaded him, he showed much improved early speed, he was a comfortable winner. I think this horse has the tactical speed to sit just off the pace. Ortiz down from New York to ride Script here on Wednesday at Parx, and this is the horse to beat. Keep an eye on him in the paddock in the post-parade to see if he gets a little bit excited, and I'm not sure how short a price I would take, but Script looks like he's got a lot of potential. Uncle Buddy expected to scratch. Southern Runner is up next. Southern Runner went up to New York for his most recent start. It was a non-winners of one other than race, won by the favorite Hagler, who looks like a promising sort. Couldn't really find the excuse for Southern Runner, bounced around a little bit at the start, chased the pace outside, and just didn't have it in the stretch. He was a winner over Wet Going 2 starts back at 6 furlongs, and maybe that will help him get right back over the top. Mr. Mox is scratched. Witty we are expecting to scratch. Smarten Up is next. Let's watch Smarten Up's most recent race, because this is a horse that might be coming into his own at the right time for a very good and underrated trainer in Alfredo Velasquez. Smarten Up, this is his 3rd lifetime start. It was a 2-turn race. They went quick here. 22-3 for the opening quarter, 46-4 for the half. Smarten Up, as you see, is off, and away, and he wins by 9 with a 59 Beyer speed figure. 2 starts back, he earned a 71 Beyer speed figure. Now, both of those races came around 2 turns. He ran well in his debut sprinting when behind Vine Jet, but he only earned a 48 Beyer speed figure this race. In the race we just saw, where he was geared down under the wire, super visually impressive. He beat 2 next out winners. I think that validates the race. Smarten Up has some ability, and I think if he goes off at a decent price, he has to be considered. We throw up the picks for the Parx Juvenile. Again, I do respect the Motion horse Script, but I want to key in on 2 others. I want to use Practical Coach, the number 7. I think he has ability. I think the addition of blinkers is going to help him. And I was really taken by the 13 Smarten Up's most recent race. I think this horse has a ton of potential. His dam was a stakes-winning sprinter. I think the 7 furlongs is going to be within his scope, especially if he can sit off of a solid pace while in the clear. So we'll see what Script does for Graham Motion. We'll see if the blinkers finally get the focus and the ability out of the 7 Practical Coach. And we'll find out how good the 13 Smarten Up is in the Parx Juvenile, your Wednesday race of the day. Good luck.